at 7 o'clock with a roll call vote. Phil Preston,
Is here.
Dan Golden,
Yep.
Jeanette Stewart, here. Would you please stand for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of May 7th minutes. Patsy, I can, give you these, but so that you can do them online. On page 3, under select board items, item number 4, where it says Selectman Golden asked about the meetings. At the end of it, it says Selectman Preston said that he said was, he didn't care, but what would we do with the other 15 minutes? So it was a consensus of the board to have it at 7 o'clock. And then the next one down where it says Sandra Coleman asked the chairman if any meetings had been scheduled. And it says the chairman said yes. The chairman didn't say yes that meetings had been scheduled. What I said was, to Ms. Coleman, was that I was waiting to hear back from the state rep, Anne Marie, because I had called them up to message her. The line that says Ray Poitras asked, it said it was changed because so that only Ashland residents could use it, but the sandpit wasn't only moved so Ashland residents could use it, it was so that they wouldn't drive their pickups, back them up to the sand and fill up their pickup full, because that's why the sand was going so fast, because rather than just taking buckets, the people were filling up their pickups. Then the paragraph that starts with Lee Nichols said he feels there has been a misunderstanding. Down at the bottom, it says that Chairman Stewart asked if they had the money in their budget to finish North Ashland Road, and Mr. Nichols said yes. But it should say, Mr. Nichols at first said it will be, and then Mr. Nichols said yes, it was. So I will give you these, and you can give them to Mom on that. Okay. Danny said what he said he believed it was, not that it was. Thank you, Dan. Phil, do you have any other?
I'm fine. I looked it over and didn't see anything that I wanted to fuss about.
Okay, then I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of May 7th with corrections. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Paul, do you have the manifest? This is a payroll. I haven't looked at that one. Because we don't have a work session or a meeting next week,
Yeah.
is Wednesday morning at 8:30 okay to come in and sign the manifest?
Yeah.
I thought we had to do
Yeah, we did.
You do, you just post the meeting, we come in, we sign the manifest. I call the meeting to order, we sign the manifest, then when we're finished, I adjourn the meeting. That's it.
Yeah, that's Wednesday at 8:30, you said?
Is that okay with you, Donna?
That works.
Paul, you can post that as 8:30 next Wednesday.
I saw early. How about,
I didn't say 8.
how about 1 o'clock?
I think one of the reasons so Linda can get at.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. Moving them up. Very good.
We want everybody to get their paychecks.
Just a clerical thing.
All those will be at the end of the table down by Phil. Those manifests. That's the welfare one, sir.
So I want to just tell him my
All set?
I'm done, boss.
Okay. You can just leave those there if you want, Phil, or you're
Oh,
gonna do
yeah,
it.
no
Okay.
clutter here. I'll give you the clutter.
Well, thank you.
All right.
Okay, old business, the investment fraud, debit card, and other various policies.
On May the 7th, I asked you to adopt the investment policy. Well, we already adopted it on August the 20th, 2007. What I should have said in the motion was, you reviewed it, is that we are going to review it and accept it for 2012, because the investment policy is reviewed every year.
I think you brought that up at the work session.
So, well, you asked me, we tabled it, and
Yeah.
you said we would do it tonight.
Yeah.
So, it's been reviewed.
Can I see the,
Yeah, this is the one that we'll put in the following of all the other policies that we
so you
have.
want us to adopt the investment policy of August 20th, 2007?
That's correct.
No.
Well, yeah, well,
We reviewed it.
you,
So at the
yeah.
bottom of it, if you look on this, if you
Yeah.
look at the bottom of the last page, we'll type in reviewed in this, in the date that you did it.
So are we
Today.
adopting it, or are
Already
we,
adopted, just review.
Yeah, you're reviewing
and
the
you
two.
don't need a vote?
No, not really.
That's why I
Because it's in the minutes that you did review it.
Yeah.
And then, and we just type that, and that goes on to the bottom of the
Because
policy.
we already had this and we could.
Right.
Okay. Now, because it was adopted August 20th, 2007, it's still in effect, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
We just
Does
reviewed
anybody
it.
want to look further on
I've seen
We
it.
had that, yeah.
That's fine.
Oh,
Fine, me.
that's not it.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
that? Yep,
Do we need to approve that?
we just received that tonight, so we're going to
Okay.
have to do it at the
Okay.
next meeting.
And it's the same then, Madam Chairman, with the fraud policy and the debit card policy, which you have reviewed and we will adopt now at today's date.
So those have not been adopted.
Correct.
Correct.
Oh.
Right,
Yeah.
they've been reviewed.
You've reviewed them, yeah, and we are going to adopt them. We're going to put today's date on both of them.
Okay,
Okay.
so you want us to make a motion to adopt it then?
Yes, please. Make a motion to adopt the fraud policy for the town of Ashland and the debit card policy as of today's date.
Done.
The debit card
Debit card.
and the,
Fraud
Okay.
policy.
is that all one, Paul? You've got
No.
it listed as
No,
one
it's two.
here.
Two
That's
separate,
two,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, two separate.
So we need a motion to accept the fraud
Yes.
policy,
Correct.
or adopt the fraud policy.
Adopt the
correct?
fraud policy as of today's date.
Okay, I'll make a motion to adopt the fraud policy as of May 21st, 2012. Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. I'll make a motion to adopt the debit card policy, May 20th, 2012. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye, indeed.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now the fund balance?
Now, on the fund balance policy, there's a little bit of discussion. We did talk about this on at a regular regular session and at the work session as well. When our auditor comes up, she's recommending we have a formal written policy, and she's going to help us enact that. There are a number of initiatives here where the fund balance policy should apply. And DRA says it should be between 5 and 15% of your appropriation. So that's what we're going to discuss. When she comes up to present the audited financial reports for 2011, she's going to sit down and go over what we have to put in, or what you would like to put in for the fund balance policy.
So we'll have a special meeting with her. then.
Yeah, we're going to fix a date, and
Okay.
she's going to come up.
Was that a must with the DRA, or was that a suggestion?
It was a suggestion on her part. Many towns do not have a formal written policy. Holderness is doing theirs right now. It does take a while to put it together. And I think Anita Trialor should be there as well for this particular meeting. So, yeah, that's what I said tomorrow. Oh.
Yeah, you asked if it was DRA.
No, yeah, I said
It's an auditor.
it's an auditor recommendation, yeah.
Our auditor,
Yeah.
our
Yeah, when I heard the DRA mentioned, or am I hearing things?
No, but you did say.
No, I did say DRA, yeah. They recommend the number.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
what I-
DRA recommends the
Okay.
percentage
Yeah.
stand, and the auditor recommended that we formalise something.
Okay, performance evaluation.
You said tonight, Madam Chairman, that you would decide which one you would want to use after reviewing it now on 3 occasions.
I'm still with number 3.
You like the Holderness sample that we chose. Selectman Golden liked the simplistic one, which we're using now. And
I think the
Selectman
Holderness
Preston
one
liked
is
the-
more explicit, and that's the reason that I like it. I think it explains it in detail so that when you're evaluating someone, if someone else takes over in a management position, they would be able to go through that and know exactly how the evaluation went.
That's the exact reason why I like number 2.
Yeah. The,
He liked one, he liked
took
two,
the
and
words out of
I
my mouth.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not a hill I'm prepared to die on,
Well-
so
I think the next management, if they can't read number 1 and number 2, I think they shouldn't be management, you know.
I think if we can't come to an agreement over what number to use, I think that we should let Paul make that decision and decide which one he'd like to use, because he's the one that's going to be evaluating the department heads, and he's the one that deals with the department heads. So I think if we can't come to agreement, I think we should let Paul decide.
Well, I'm for number one, but I can go for number two.
Madam Chairman, the only time that the board will look at it is when you do my review, and also anybody that's on probation. When they come out of probation, then you have the
Then the board,
opportunity
right.
to review it as well.
Not anybody, just
Other than
department
that,
heads that come out of
that's
it.
correct. Yes, that's correct. So, do you want to leave it like that, or
Well, it makes me happy, but I don't,
will you make a motion then that you'll leave it in my capable hands?
I think that's fine. We kick the can down in your direction.
Are you okay with that, Tina?
I suppose so. We should have done that in the first place, and I think if we were going around with this.
Okay, I'm okay with that too, so.
Is that a
Job,
consensus, or does that need a vote?
that's just a consensus. Job descriptions?
Well, you tabled them because we wanted to have another look at them.
And you
Are you
also
happy?
gave us the one for Pat.
I
too,
gave the
and
one
we
for
didn't
Pat
have
Croft.
that
We have
before,
not
so.
done one yet for Anita. We haven't got one in the town office. We are going to do one for her. And I will get some templates.
I think we should, even though she's
Yeah,
part-time,
yes,
the paper
it's
trail.
it's an important position as a financial officer.
I think we should adopt what we've got though.
But are you happy with the ones that you've seen?
I am.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
not fine to me.
Dan?
Yeah, that's,
So, okay, then it's a majority of the board that the job descriptions are fine, except for the one for Anita, the position that
We'll
she
get
has.
Anita's. Good.
Okay, fire station roof update.
As you know, you've given, when Linda Perry came to our work session, you've given her the authority to go ahead and draw up the specs that we'll put out for an RFP. And in the interim, you directed me to find out whether FEMA would do anything for us, because it's our emergency operations centre. And the answer was good try, but no. So we fell short there. So we are looking into the other areas of funding sources. All I wanted to bring to your attention is the document that I've left there, that it does need a letter from the majority of the Board of Selectmen and a letter from the majority of the Board of the Budget Committee, which will then be sent to DRA once we've decided where we're going to get the allocated funds from.
This one.
So
yeah.
we should wait until we know exactly,
Know exactly
what
the
it's going
amount.
to. Yeah. That's why I just wanted to give you an update on that. I don't think
Okay.
the fire chief is there. Chief Heath is here tonight, so I've kept him informed of everything, whether he wants to say anything about.
I think we just have to wait and see what the bids come back.
That's the thing, because we do need to know how much it's going to be, so. And it's something that we can't let go to winter either, we really got to do something about it, so.
I think it was appropriate. We were going to have a meeting with the fire chief too, to see if there was any room in his budget
Right,
to contribute some funds towards that.
right.
Now, do we need to meet with the budget committee for their approval?
No, we have to write a letter to the budget committee once we know where we're going to get the allocated funds, and they'll ask questions on where's it coming from and is it available, etc., etc. And then we'll,
And once we know the exact
Yeah,
amount.
that's right. And we'll be in good shape.
Under old business, the electric commissioners nominated Bobby Horder for the Personnel Policy Committee, and the water and sewer commissioners nominated John Hughes. So tonight, I would like to nominate Bobby Horder for the Personnel Policy Committee. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. I'd like to nominate John Hughes for the Personnel Policy Committee. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Also under old business, we had gotten a memo, Paul had given it to us from the electric commissioners. asking us to meet with them to have a meeting. And we need to answer the memo, so what's your pleasure on that?
Well, I'm willing to meet with them. However, I do not think it's a good idea for us to just to agree to meet with them and chit chat. So if they have something they specifically want to talk about, I think they should tell us what that is, and we'll act upon it and find out what they want to talk about. But I don't think
Well, I think they do.
it should be an open-ended meeting.
How did they say?
Well, do you want me to read what it
Yeah,
What it
please.
said, in the spirit of and the best interest of Ashland, we are requesting a meeting of the three governing boards. In our opinion, much ado has been made over issues that if we had sat down and talked may not have occurred. Let us mutually agree on the place and time so the conversation can begin.
So they didn't actually say.
No,
what
there are no specific issues, no.
No, but there are issues.
There are issues.
Well, let them state what they are, in their opinion. And I suggest that then we act upon it, but until that time, I would not be in favor of just saying, yeah, we'll get together. Let's find out what we're gonna get together about.
Danny?
Well, I disagree. I think that it's basically in broad statement, they said what they wanted to meet about. Getting into specifics is, maybe they will if we meet with them. So I'm in favor of meeting with them.
I'm in favor of meeting with them, and maybe when we send the answer to meet with them, maybe in our answer we could say, can you tell us what are some of the specific issues that you would like to discuss? That way they can maybe answer back then, and then we'll know ahead of time before we have the meeting. It's a consensus of the board then that we send them a memo saying that we'll meet with them and ask them what the specific issues are.
Madam
Okay.
Chairman, do you want to pick a date?
Um,
Or want to pick a date or some dates in
No,
case.
let's wait for an answer.
Let's wait for an answer to the
Okay,
question.
all right. Shall I ask for dates that are favourable to them?
Yeah, and between budget committee and planning board and selectmen, it doesn't leave many nights, so see if maybe they could do it in the morning. Do you have anything else on the old
I
business?
do. The Ashland Snack Shack. If you remember, Laurie Vachon came to our work session and she wants to have Ashland residents work at the snack shack there. She's been given a food license by the state,
Oh, good.
so that was approved this morning. She's asking your permission. She looked under the licensing agreements with the town of Ashland, and she's asking your permission to waive the vendor permit. I mean, she's paying $300 for the rental. She doesn't see that she should pay a vendor permit, or anybody should pay vendor permits at the beach. She said, well, I ask your opinion on that. It clearly states in our policy that,
Well, if we're going to waive the beach, then maybe we should waive the ball field too. I mean, you can't have one and the other.
You
You do one or the other.
could also reduce it to $250. The rental shack to $250.
Charge of the $50 vendor fee, and then
$250.
rent it for $250 instead of $300. So she'd still be doing it, all right.
she's not going to make
Yeah.
much money.
She's not gonna make a profit.
She's not going to break even. No, that's her goal, and I don't think she is. So.
I agree with Danny too. I think, that if we're gonna charge one vendor fee, we have to charge everyone.
Stay.
Same as the special event. So,
But can we reduce the rent?
yeah, I mean, I
Okay.
don't mind doing that.
So it's still $300.
Right,
Okay.
I'm not really paying anymore. Danny, is that okay with you?
Yeah. But there's still. The rent is $300, and we're giving her a break. Then again,
Well, we didn't actually come up with the 300, she did.
whatever. The consensus of the board, right?
Mm-hmm. Just want to make sure you're okay with it.
Well, it's a community service. Acceptable.
Well, so is what goes on at the ball field, I mean, in my opinion.
I mean, she's got the handicapped people that are going to be working there.
Specific,
Fine.
which I think is a good.
Okay, is there any other old business?
That's all.
Old business, I don't know if it's proper to bring it up, like the island at the junction of Main Street and Highland Street.
You're talking about the side by Ashland Insurance, Danny, right?
Yes,
No,
I mean, dog poops and no dog poops. It looks terrible, not mowed. And it's funny, I went by there tonight on the way to the selectmen's meeting, and the people were volunteers, who were putting flowers in that pot down there. And they were walking up on the island.
The garden pump, yeah.
And they were cleaning the other island too. Now, we're trying to make Ashland picturesque and have people that come in, tourists and so on and so forth, so I think we should take another look at the highway mowing. And we should take another look at if people would, I thought we had a law that, you know, Cooper School.
we do, well, it's right there, the sign's right there that says,
Yeah.
it's the law.
So
Clean
I
up
think-
after your dog, but
I
they,
think if a cruiser goes by or someone goes by and sees someone, they issue a few summonses for that ordinance, I think that would be a great deterrent for them not to, or either the dog's gonna poop there or they're gonna pick it up, one or the other. But nevertheless, who's gonna mow it? Are you gonna wait till it's a mini field or it should be mowed?
the Public Works couldn't get in there to mow because of the number of dog feces, that was the
Well,
issue.
Can we leave that in the lap of the town administrator and
Yeah.
ask him to
Leave it with me.
find out what
Yeah.
kind of
Maybe,
solutions
yeah.
he has?
The Public Works couldn't get in there to mow, but the people could get in there with the flowers, to put flowers in the bed.
Yeah.
You know, that seems
Yeah.
a little bit funny.
Yeah.
Leave it with me.
Also, while we're on that subject, we have the signs down at the ballpark, no dogs, but there are people that have their dogs down there. So I think if we see anybody down there with a dog, Tony, we need to enforce that
Oh, we
because.
do.
Yeah, I'm just
See
saying.
that.
No, I
Well,
know.
I'm gonna tell you what happens with the dog poop on Main Street. When they see the cop there, they're picking it up. When they're looking around going, hey, there's nobody here, boom, they just leave it.
Kills
So,
me that
I mean,
there are
you can't-
signs
You can't be out there 100% of the time.
that say no dogs down at the ballpark.
We don't
They're down
expect
there.
it.
I mean, we enforce our ordinances that we have.
Beyond dog poop, we
If
don't
we-
expect that.
If we see them down there, we're running them out of there. So,
We're not gonna, some of these people or anything like that, then we should do away with the ordinances. Don't you think? Do you give people summonses because if you happen to catch them with, not scooping up the dog poop there on Main Street?
well, we would if we could catch them, Dan.
Do you do that? No dogs are allowed down to the ball field.
Yes, we will when we catch people.
When you catch them.
We gotta have somebody there to see them violating in order to do it.
Okay, new business?
No.
Bill, any new business?
Are we not dealing, well, are we not dealing with the noise issue and the?
That's on the select board.
That's on the select board.
Okay,
items.
okay.
Town administrators report?
The Ashland Budget Committee began their department reviews on May the 10th with interviews with representatives from the Public Works Department and Water and Sewer. Their meeting schedule will entertain these reviews through the middle of September. This Thursday, May 24th, is the Police Department and the Electric Department. These meetings help ensure that the committee make the most informed decisions possible as we move forward towards the preparation of the 2013 budget. On May 14th, the first HEAL meeting, Healthy Eating and Active Living training, took place in Concord for those individuals representing the Ashland HEAL Steering Committee, namely Parks and Director Jim Gleick, Ashland residents Kathy Luter, David Toth, Fran Newton and the Town Administrator. This morning, representatives from the Foundation for Healthy Communities came to the Town office to plan the big Ashland Hill kickoff event, which is scheduled to take place on Tuesday, May the 29th at 6:30 p.m. on the 3rd floor of the old schoolhouse located on the corner of School Street and Education Drive. Those participating, apart from the steering committee, will be the ad hoc committee, members and stakeholders. The public are encouraged to attend this event to learn more about the grant that was awarded to our community and the events that will take place going forward in which they can participate. Our goal is to make immediate and long-term improvements in our community to promote good health and the quality of life, providing opportunities for healthy food choices and physical activities. On May 15th, the Ashland Revitalisation Alliance held its second regular meeting and intends to meet on the first and third Tuesday of each month at the Ashland Fire Station at 8 a.m. While not yet recognised as having non-profit status, this community body has been very active in discussing a wide range of topics, from gateway signage for Ashland to economic development. Mike McCormack from McCormack Facilities Management returned to Ashland to discuss the reports from the energy audit of town buildings conducted in 2010. McCormack Facilities Management are to outline a plan of action and meet with the Board of Selectmen over the summer to discuss energy conservation measures. The Selectmen's work session was moved from Monday morning to Wednesday morning last week in order that the signing of the manifest could be carried out in public. On the weeks when there are no Selectmen's meetings, there will be a posting of the signing for the manifest. There was a full agenda with topics ranging from parking on town property to target practice behind the wastewater treatment facility. A structural engineer who had reported on the condition of the fire station roof came to meet with the Selectmen to show a core sample of the test cuts that had been taken recently. These test cuts revealed the dangerous condition of the excessive dead loads on a flat roof, which ultimately has to be removed. The Selectmen authorised the Town Administrator to work with the engineer in preparing the scope of work for an RFP, which would then be put out to bid. Meantime, the Board would confer on where the funds will come from to pay for this project, which is estimated to cost anywhere from $130,000 to $160,000. The Selectmen elected to leave the signs on Collins Street prohibiting public shooting behind the wastewater treatment facility. Ashland resident Jeff McDonald sat in the audience at the work session while the Board deliberated on the event he has planned for July 28th at the Board Field called Rock the Park. Mr. McDonald has been asked to complete a special events application and check on insurance requirements for that day. The gathering will feature bands, motivational speakers and local outreach programs from around New Hampshire to foster community spirit. On Wednesday this week, a representative from the local government centre will be meeting with town employees to explain the LGC Slice of Life program, which is part of the health insurance coverage that this carrier provides. Thank you.
Just one thing. On the Selectmen elected to leave the signs on Collins Street prohibiting public shooting behind the wastewater treatment facility. That's not a definite. We left that temporarily.
Correct.
Okay. Just wanted to make that clear.
That is correct. Chairman's got that.
Okay, select board items. One of them was to send a letter to Northern Lakes Veterinary.
Yes.
You're going to have the suggestion that the attorney, town attorney sent a letter too.
Rather than the Board of Selectmen, right,
Walter Mitchell.
it was a suggestion that,
Yeah.
that
Because he
Walter,
hasn't,
on legal.
because we haven't heard back from him at all as to what he's going to do, so.
Well, we can't wait forever, so I
No,
think
so,
we should,
So I need your blessing to do that tomorrow.
yeah,
yes.
Phil?
You got it.
Also, if you could contact Walter Mitchell about Mr. McBurney, because he really should not be emailing you, sending anything to you, because that is illegal right now, so he should not be sending anything to you. Anything else on the select board items, Tom?
Just that I mentioned earlier about the financial report. It's in draft form. You have all got a copy of it. Anita and I reviewed it today. We feel it is acceptable to us. And now I'd like to fix a date for Tamar Roberts to come up, meet with you, and she will bring up her letter confirming that it's either acceptable to her, or maybe there's some changes are required.
Do you have any idea what days are better for her?
No, I haven't even, no. But I'll find a mutually convenient.
Contact her and find out.
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't you
We
see-
did it in the morning, I think, last year.
But I don't know if there's particular days,
Yeah.
because she has so many towns. that
Right.
she has to-
Right.
Anything else?
Rick Alper's Primex coming in
Oh.
today, so I don't think you might want to mention. I don't know whether Selectman Golden was at home when he saw the email.
Did you see this from Rick? And I answered Paul.
I sent it at 3
That's
o'clock.
my answer.
So when they say they will not allow public shooting behind the wastewater treatment plant,
Public shooting.
public shooting,
Insurance carrier will not allow public shooting.
so would that mean that,
If anything happened, we would not be covered under the insurance policy.
okay,
But if the police shoot there, then we are.
Because that's not public.
That's correct. If the police shoot there, or police from other
Other towns.
communities come, which carry their own insurance with them, yes. But if the public go there, then we're on our own.
and had you talked with him prior to his coming here today?
I did, yes. Yeah.
We had talked about the shooting down behind the wastewater treatment plant, and Paul checked with Rick Alpers, which is our Primex carrier for liability insurance. And Rick sent an email back to him saying that Primex will not allow public shooting behind the wastewater treatment facility, so that the signs must stay up. So I just wanted to read that. Anything else, Paul?
We talked about the noise regulations, and Patsy found that it was defeated in 1999. I think you all had a copy of this. Selectman Preston had a comment that perhaps we should bring it back to life.
But
Part
that
of
has
it,
to-
part of it
that'll
is just
happen
related.
Next year, right? Has to be a warrant article, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yes, that's correct.
My thought was that the original, the article was defeated in 1999, had a long section about drag racing and shifting gear, downshifting, and a lot of things that are not relevant to the problem we're trying to address.
Right.
And so my thought was to present that ordinance stripped of that, which makes it it's a very short, simple ordinance.
Right.
It's something that can
Mainly noise.
easily understand, because when you read through this great long preamble of all the do's and don'ts and how not to drive your car, it is a
Probably why it
better
was
turnout.
defeated.
Well, could be. And it may be that the logic behind the last little paragraph of that ordinance is sufficiently compelling to make it possible to pass it.
And that won't be till next year, I mean, because it has to be a warrant
Yeah,
article
it's
voted
a
on
warrant,
by the. The reason we're discussing that, so the audience will know, rather than just sitting there and wonder what's going on. We've had some problems with like radios being turned up loud, people making a lot of noise, whether it's, if it's at nighttime, it would be okay, because we do have an ordinance for nighttime after 10 o'clock, I believe. But during the day, we don't. So the police, really, their hands are tied. I mean, they can go over and say, this is bothering the neighbor, will you please turn it down? But legally, there's nothing they can do. So when they drive away, the people can turn it back up again. So we were looking into doing some type of a noise ordinance next year as a warrant article, so that this would cover us, so that the police can do something about it if the noise is bothering the neighbors. So that's why we were discussing it right now.
Our disorderly conduct ordinance that we have does not really fully address noise issues.
Doesn't
which
address
is
it at all, except dogs, if they're making a noise for so long.
Between
10 and,
Yeah, 10 o'clock.
yeah, not during the day. It's good.
Okay, any other select board items? Deanna?
Not me.
Bill?
No, I just wanted to, I'm just looking for the original noise ordinance. It's one paragraph, an inch long, looks like,
And that's mainly after 10
8-point type,
o'clock
so-
at night.
yeah. And if we were to enact that, it would be basically a one paragraph ordinance, specifically addressed to obnoxious noises
Noise
from
complaints. And rather than having a specific, rather it just being at a specific time, then it would allow the police to do something about it if it continued during the day too.
Well, you want to be careful how you word it, because if you're in town and your neighbor's making noise, that's one thing. If you live out of town in a rural area and you got a radio playing, who's going to complain? The bears or the flocks or what? I mean,
Well,
so
Well, this is kind of out of town.
You're not creating a disturbance there. You're not annoying anybody. This is a case of people who live close together, and that behavior is annoying to some.
And then it continues and continues and continues, so. We'll just have to discuss that and make sure that we come up with a warrant
I
article for
just-
that.
hate to load the town down with laws and ordinances that this country's got enough of your rights being taken away from you because of laws passed and ordinances passed in towns and so on and so forth. So,
But we have a right to enjoy our property.
yeah.
And if you're not able to do that because of what somebody else does, that's...
Well, and somebody else has a right to enjoy their property too. I mean, during the day. If this is at night, 10 o'clock at night, that's a possibly different color. But during the day, I don't know. That's my personal opinion. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Okay, well, when the time comes and we
Okay,
want to discuss the warrant article, we can,
Yeah.
you can, whatever
we
you,
can do that.
whatever it is as the majority of the board, whatever we decide. Okay, public comment,
Well, it's a majority of the town.
Yeah,
public comment,
The board
And
feels happy
concern.
that it's always going to be efficient.
yeah.
Fran?
Yeah, thanks. Some of you may know that Chief Donald Sullivan, who's a police chief of the town of Alexandria, had brain tumors, brain cancer, and had 2 surgeries. The Greater Plymouth and the Franklin Bristol MRC and CERT are hosting a fundraising spaghetti dinner a week from Wednesday, that's the 30th, at the Alexandria Town Hall from 4 until 8. There'll be 2 seatings, one at 4:30 and one at 6. Tickets are available at the door, or you can also get them at the Alexandria Town Hall or at Shackett's, and I have no idea where that is. But it's a very worthwhile event, and fundraiser is to offset some of the medical bills in his lost time at work. So Chief Randall, Chief Heath, if you might want to mention that to your staff,
I've
we
already
certainly
sent out
appreciate
an
it.
email.
Lovely, thank you so
How about
much.
the
And we can help you.
Thank you.
Date and time again?
It's May 30th, it's a Wednesday, and it's from 4 to 8, but there's 2 seatings at 4:30 and at 6. And the tickets are $10.
In case anybody asks you where Shackett's is, just tell them it's the road where the Catholic Church is.
Okay.
West Shore Drive.
Okay,
West Shore Drive.
all right, thank you.
Sandra, did you have your hand up?
I do. This question is for Mr. Preston. Mr. Preston, I'd like to know why you choose to not salute the flag of the United States, nor to say the Pledge of Allegiance during the select board meetings.
It's a personal reason, and I don't feel that that has anything to do with patriotism. It's fine if it means something, by all means do it. I feel as though I'm every bit as patriotic in what I do and how I live my life. And road activities just don't seem to have any impact on that.
That act was established years ago to salute the flag, especially during the Pledge of Allegiance. I feel you're disrespecting the flag. And you are a member of the Board of Select that govern our town. This is a policy that was put in, or something that the board had decided to do last year or the year before last. I think it's disgraceful.
Are there any other public comments and concerns? Ron?
Yeah, I understand that the property that the town owns on Collins Street is going to be closed to public shooting temporarily. What I'm wondering is, has it been discussed under the open land for recreation? Most landowners are protected under statutes that already exist, and they're actually working really hard to make them even more stringent in favor of the landowners to protect them. What's his name? Chandler, Representative Chandler, I think is drafting a bill right now to protect the landowners.
But this is the town.
Right, but the town is also a landowner, and they can fall under that statute.
But a town is totally different. A town is a municipality. And a town, if our insurance carrier is not going to cover it,
Right.
then we can't allow public people.
So it's going to be closed to all recreation. You can't fish, can't hike, can't bike, can't walk your dog, can't do anything. Is that what I'm understanding?
I think it's mainly the shooting. That's what I understand.
So hunting,
Hunting is shooting.
not with a bow,
That's still shooting.
so no shooting.
But we have to talk about this again because the last time when we made the decision, it was a temporary decision. And I know that Paul just got that answer from Rick Elpers in an email. So as a select board, I really can't give you a definite answer
I'm not looking
tonight
for a definite answer.
until the three of us discuss this.
What I'm trying to put out there is that it is possible for municipalities to fall under those statutes.
If
And
you
it
have,
needs to be investigated as such, but
if
it
you
can happen.
know it and you have any information on it, then you should give it to Paul.
That's the attorney's job to look into that, the town's attorney.
Not if you know where it is.
I don't know where it is, that's the problem.
Then how do you know that we'd be covered if you don't know
I'd
where
have
it is?
to go back into my research and find out and trace it down.
Then if you do, give it to
But
Paul.
I think it would be easier for Paul and the attorney because they understand the legalese.
Every time that we talk to an attorney, it costs the
Yeah,
town
I
a
know.
lot of money. So we try not to unless it's really
Yeah.
necessary to do it. Okay?
Yeah.
Kendall, you had your hand up?
Yes. Last week I bought the Record Citizen, and there were 2 notices that were disturbing. An employee of the town telling the boss, I'm not gonna do it. Who's running this town? The employees or the select board? Second one, they have an area which is called where the town shed is, and it's gated. It's not fenced in. It should be. They reported that there were manhole covers stolen from down around the firing range and some other irons. Never reported before. How come?
Because nobody shot at them before.
What?
Nobody shot holes in them before.
Well, they just happened last week.
It happened,
Steel,
it happened a few weeks ago.
Steel at a junkyard selling between $300 and $400 a ton. And these manhole covers are pretty heavy. So, yeah, they're accusing maybe we were doing it, town citizens, or some other citizens from around. Could be a town employee.
Nobody was accusing anybody.
Caught in paper. But anyways, why isn't that stuff in the town shed area under lock and key?
There isn't room enough to put the culverts at the
If
public
they
works
reorganize that, there'd be plenty of room.
We
You took,
already,
wait a minute, you took the sand, because people were taking that, and put it behind the gate going into the dump. And we're only allowed now in the afternoon of Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and all day Saturday to get sand for our driveway. But these manholes, I'm sure they cost a lot of money. But it's okay, steal them. Where's the responsibility of the select board?
they're behind the fence, they're behind the gate. They have been storing them there for many, many years. I had them check in to see if we had the room at the highway department, at the public works department. There is not room enough there.
Reorganize, you will. Okay, so
Well, then you
Go back
know
to-
what you do? You volunteer to reorganize and move everything and make sure there's room.
no, I'm not a road agent. Another thing, back up Sandra's comment about Bill Preston not saluting. I served in the Vietnam War. I spent almost 3 years in there. I was awarded the Bronze Star, facing the enemy. I asked Preston, when he was a representative down in Concord, put a bill in to get the Bronze Star on a license plate like the Purple Heart. He didn't. I understand not why he does it, or didn't.
That has nothing to do with the slug.
But let me answer that. I was not asked to do that. You asked me if it could be done,
Yeah.
and that's all, and I'm sure
You told me later that
I
you put, to me, to put that bill in.
Kendall
Well,
L.
then your benefit.
Kendall L., you had your chance to speak. Now, Phil would like to speak, please.
Right.
I remember you're asking me, and I believe I said to you that yes, that could be put in. I did not say, because you didn't ask me to. You asked me if it could be done, and I said yes, it could be done. It can always be done. And it is often done at the request of a constituent of his or her representative. But I do not recall you having asked me to do that.
Are there any other public comments or concerns, Ingrid?
A few weeks back, we were talking about lifeguards at the beach, and I said I would look back in my notes from the budget committee from last year. I have done such. According to my notes, we were informed as a budget committee that 2 lifeguards would be hired. There would be money for 2. One would be working one shift, and another one would be working another shift. That seems kind of obvious to me, because otherwise one lifeguard's working 7 days.
That's wrong information, because we only voted on one
I'm
lifeguard.
just telling you what I wrote in my notes, that we were informed by the Parks and Rec director that there was money for 2 to be hired, 1 would be working at a time, which seems to make logical sense to me, as I just said, because otherwise one person is working 7 days a week.
I know we only voted for 1, but I will go back and check the...
I understand you
the
voted
minutes of
for
the board.
1 to be working at a time, but there is money for 2 to be hired. That is
Nothing
what
was-
I told you I'd check my notes. I checked my notes. I'm informing you of what my notes said.
And what I'm telling you, Ingrid, is nothing was said about 2, but I will go back and check the selectmen's notes, and I will talk with Mr. Goik, so.
So is there money in your budget for 2?
Well, there's money obviously for to be paying one person, a lifeguard for the entire period of shifts. But obviously you have to hire 2, because as I just said, I'll say it again, one person can't work 7 days in a row. So there's obviously going to be 2 hired.
Did the budget committee vote for the two?
They voted for the line that was in there.
One FTE, but two people filling.
What print is that?
One FTE, one full-time equivalent, but two people would
Be filling the
would fill
position.
that position. So it's this, it
We're gonna have
comes
to go
out to
back
be the
and
same as
check it
one
out. We're
person,
gonna have to go
but
back
it's
and
one
check it
FTE.
Kendall?
Going back to your firing range, do they just fire into a bank? It's
I
not
don't really
prepared-
know because I don't shoot down there.
It's not prepared, because bullets going into the bank contaminate soil.
Tony, where do they shoot?
Yeah, we shoot into
Bank.
the sandbank that they have.
But there's nothing under it,
Not
to
that
prevent
I'm,
the-
not that I'm aware of.
right? So there is corrosion there. Because over at the Pemmy Fish and Game Club, when we built the range over there, we had to put lime on the bottom, so it wouldn't contaminate the soil.
So it's been corrosion for years and
Well,
down there.
that's right. But you didn't know nothing about it, now you do. Now something, you take care of it.
Well, if there was corrosion and you were worried about it, I'm just surprised you haven't complained before now. That's what I'm surprised about.
I didn't look for public range either.
Are there any other public comments or concerns? Kendall?
Does the local union have a president?
What local union?
Well, the only union we have in town, I believe it's 1984. The last president I know of was Tim Paquette,
I believe it's
and he
Ray
became
Dow.
supervisor in November.
I believe it's Ray Dow.
In the paper, I read he was a steward. That's a different position.
Well, Tim was the steward, but he was also the president.
It didn't
A
mention anything
steward-
about president.
A steward is just the
So
person
in other
that
words-
represents the town, but they also can be the president.
So, the union hasn't notified you of the president. Who do you call when you need to talk to the local?
Who do I talk to?
Yeah,
Ray Dow.
okay.
Okay, there being no other public comments or concerns, I'm going to make a motion to go into non-public at 7:57 PM, RSA 91A 2, matters which if discussed in public would likely affect the reputation of any person, da-da-da. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion
Ask you a roll
carries.
call vote.
Roll call. I'm just going to do that, Kendall. With a roll call vote,